From Axios on August 7th, 2023 comes a story with this headline: The Climate Wrecking Ball Striking Food Supply. Here's the lead. Quote, extreme weather events and our warming planet are primed to strike commodities and the food supply like never before, end quote. The paper in Axios quotes Roderick Rejesus, agricultural economist at North Carolina State University. Quote, the literature is pretty clear, end quote, that if the observed increased frequency of extreme weather events continues, it will hurt crop yields in particular. Quote, it's possible we could face unprecedented market impacts if we don't do anything in terms of mitigation and adapting, end quote. Moving on, the paper goes on to suggest that, quote, that human actions may have rendered the Paris Agreement's 1.5 degrees C target and possibly even its 2 degrees C benchmark infeasible, end quote. Really? The 2 degrees C benchmark is infeasible? Considering we already passed the 2 degrees C benchmark, I'd say adhering to it is infeasible. Again, I quote from page 31 of Professor Andrew Weiglexen's October 9th, 2020 book, The Event Horizon. Quote, during the Anthropocene, greenhouse gas forcing has risen by more than 2.0 watts per meter squared, equivalent to more than 2 degrees C above pre-industrial temperatures, which constitutes an abrupt event over a period not much longer than a lifetime. End quote. This line is from the abstract of Chapter 5 of Glixen's book, which you can easily find online. In addition, the idea behind retaining a relatively cool planet is simple. Doing so will prevent triggering self-reinforcing feedback loops. Unfortunately, we have already triggered several self-reinforcing feedback loops, any one of which makes climate change irreversible. Even the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change admitted we triggered a self-reinforcing feedback loop in its September 24, 2019 IPCC Special Report on the Ocean and Cryosphere in a Changing Climate. This IPCC report indicated an overheated ocean was responsible for the irreversibility of climate change. About 4 years ago. The outcomes expected to result from abrupt, irreversible climate change are already being revealed. Consider, for example, the long-predicted reduction in grain production. According to the paper in Axios, the Indian government banned exports of non-basmati rice, white rice, on July 20th of this year. Not surprisingly, considering the importance of India as a supplier of rice, international prices are going up. According to Seng-Ki Lee, an agricultural economist at Ohio State University, quote, we should be anticipating some drastic supply shocks, end quote. Again, the supply shocks are already happening. How drastic do they need to be before members of the Dismal science notice? I know about the Dismal science. After all, I received a PhD minor in economics in August 1987. If you're keeping track, that's more than 36 years ago. According to Cornell University economist Ariel Ortiz quote, temperatures are higher, productivity is lower, the impacts are already here, they've already happened, end quote. That's quite an impressive admission from a professor at a major university. Ortiz-Bobbio is further quoted in the Axios paper, quote, with all the lip service that people are giving development of drought-tolerant crops, I don't see it in the data, end quote. Ortiz-Bobbio led a 2021 study that demonstrated global farming productivity is 21% lower than it would be without climate change. A climate scientist and research associate at Dartmouth College, Corey Lasque, offers the final quote in the Axios paper, quote, it's pretty much every summer now that a record-breaking heat wave is happening, not just in one breadbasket, but multiple breadbaskets around the world. We are currently heading into a climate regime that we have never seen before, end quote. None of this sounds promising for a future with more than 8 billion people on Earth. That's a lot of mouths to feed. I suspect many of them will go unfed in the near future. At some point, of course, they will all be unfed. How soon will we all face starvation? Consider that the following list of informed individuals is anticipating a global depression in 2025, slated to be much worse than 1929. Warren Buffett and his renowned longtime assistant Charlie Munger, Robert Kiyosaki, Elon Musk, Rebecca Patterson, Simon Hunt, and others. If even one or two of these folks are correct, then we are headed for some serious hard times. In addition, we are headed for a significant loss of aerosol masking. Never mind the ongoing rate of environmental change, reported by the IPCC to be the most rapid in planetary history. A global depression will cause an even faster rate of environmental change. Will it be sufficient to reduce aerosol masking enough to cause loss of habitat for human animals? If not, will enough employees walk away from their jobs at nuclear power plants to cause the nuclear facilities to melt down? After all, several decades are required to safely decommission a nuclear power plant. If we want to avoid superheating the planet by stripping away stratospheric ozone, we had better start the process of decommissioning nuclear facilities right now. If we fail, at least we will have tried.